Did. Looked really good for the Raiders.
Almost as good as Drew Aller.
Aller got playing time.
Your boy Kirk Cousins looked good.
Yeah, he was in there for a brief time. He got a touchdown pass or led them to a touchdown.
I think Mendoza is going to be okay.
He threw in some really tight windows. They look really good. I have no idea the depth chart of who he was facing on the other side of the ball, but
they were all good enough to get invited to camp.
That's right.
Appears to right now, though, Kirk Cousins, because he was the first guy out there, he'd still be the starter if the season started.
How is Ty doing?
He had an interception last night, did he not?
Did he? I don't know.
That's why I asked. I legitimately did not know.
Yeah, I don't know. I know Jeremiah Love was playing last night, and everybody was like, going, what?
Oh, that was a different video. Never mind. I saw a video of him throwing an interception, and I was like, I didn't know the Rams were playing last night. They did not play. They're playing tomorrow.
Yeah, Jeremiah Love had, 11 carries, 50-something yards?
Yeah, everyone said he looked like Adrian Peterson. So.
He looked the part. I like Jeremiah Love.
That was just like Joe Burrow getting hit last night in these preseason games, and you're just like going,
we're tempting fate here.
I'm like, what are we doing?
Right?
I mean, it's like, goodness gracious. Speaking of Joe Burrow, last hour we kind of played a couple clips. Lane Kiffin said absolutely nothing. He pleaded the fifth. It was like Fauci didn't say a word in regards to the number situation. But Joe Burrow, he was asked about the ongoing numbers fiasco down at LSU. Remember, his number 9 has never been worn since he wore it in 2019.
There's a lot of conversation about his number. Your number hasn't been used yet. What's your thoughts on kind of how that whole situation has unfolded down there?
I don't know too much about it. I just heard about it a couple hours ago. I don't necessarily have too many thoughts at this time. I don't know enough about the situation to have any thoughts, I would say.
Has there ever been a conversation about your number not getting reissued? Like, you ever thought about that? Like, since you left, like, they haven't used 9? Like,
yeah, they told me that they wouldn't use it again. But you know, you never know. You never know what happens.
Interesting how
sounds like he's really concerned about them using his jersey again.
Well, it's interesting because why did they tell Joe Burrow that we're never going to allow someone else to wear your number? But you didn't tell Jaden Daniels that.
That's a really good question.
I understand that Joe Burrow is much more accomplished. You got LSU a national championship. I understand that. But, and also kind of weird how, the story came out yesterday that LSU waits 5 years before they the committee considers retiring your number, whatever the case may be. Last time he played was 2019. What are they waiting on?
Yeah, I don't know. But I just go back to just listening to Joe Burrow in those comments. Joe Burrow, it sounds like he really doesn't care if they ever use his number again or not.
Yeah, I don't think he's too concerned about that.
No.
And I honestly, and I don't know this, but I don't know how concerned Jaden Daniels was originally.
That's why most people believe that it was his team, air quotes, his mom, his uncle, his whoever, his little entourage. They're the ones that had a problem with it. So we'll see. I think LSU is going, like we talked about yesterday, they will double down.
As they should.
Does this ever happen in Colorado?
Well, that was going to be kind of my joke. I wonder if Jaden Daniels wish he went to Colorado because they would have retired it immediately.
While he was playing.
Yes.
You could accomplish a lot less at Colorado and get your jersey retired immediately.
You're going to need a new number after halftime.
That's what I was going to say. What if they had retired it and they said, okay, no, you can't wear that number because we're retiring it for you, so you need to pick another number to play the rest of the season.
What's your next favorite number?
Yes. That's what they should have done. Speaking of LSU, this is some sad news coming out of Baton Rouge earlier this morning. Skip Bertman passed away. The legendary architect of LSU baseball. He was an outstanding athletic director. He was one of the most influential figures in the history of college sports. He died earlier this morning at the age of 88. He became the head coach of LSU back in 1984, went on to win 5 national championships, 7 SEC titles, and went to the NCAA tournament 16 of his 18 years as the head coach of LSU.
Yeah, when I think SEC baseball, immediately I think LSU. But right there with it, I think of Skip Bertman in that uniform, in that dugout, coaching those great teams.
And he went on to be the athletics director at LSU for 7 years. He stepped down from coaching in 2001. He held the position of AD until 2008. So sad day because Skip Bertman, as you mentioned, when you think of SEC baseball, you think of Skip Bertman.
Yeah.
First and foremost.
For sure.
So he passed away at the age of 88. So yesterday we spent a lot of time talking about the upcoming Alabama Scrimmage, Auburn Fall Camp, and needless to say, we have kind of moved on from the whole Birmingham Stallions. We have just pretty much blocked it out. We've moved on. We hate that it's gone. We talked to Skip Holtz earlier this week. Sad situation. Hate it. But you know what? I think us as a community, we're ready to move on. Are we not? Are we ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
You ready to move on? I mean, you still wear the gear, which I don't have a problem
I
with.
do. It's great.
No, it is great.
I
gear.
moved on.
I love it.
I made a little space in our office, and that'll be like our Stallions memory corner.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, that's why you have
With the
that
hat,
stuff
the
stacked
towel,
up.
all
Okay.
the shirt. Yeah.
Very nice. Okay. So Mike Repole, who I never followed on Twitter anyway, because most of our listeners, if he said something, they would have texted in or tweeted at us, whatever the case may be. He posted a response on X to AL.com columnist Roy Johnson. Roy Johnson wrote a column. I wish I could be able to tell you that I read it, but it's behind the paywall, and I do not have a subscription to AL.com. But I can read you the headline, which said, Johnson started an open letter to Repole in which he said, Dear United Football League or league co-owner Mike Repole, Mike, sir, congratulations on all your wealth-building success. You've used your billions and your words to reshape spring football, and whew, I'm glad to have played a role in the journey. So I couldn't read the rest of it, but apparently it irritated Repole. So Repole then posts his own letter in response to Roy Johnson's column at AL.com, and it reads the following. Dear Protective Stadium, if you're going to write me a letter, you probably shouldn't put it behind a paywall. Another mistake on your part. Listen, you were too big for me. We broke up. Let's move on. Metro Birmingham, let's build the future. Let's find 100 acres and build a modern 8,000 to 12,000 seat outdoor stadium for the Birmingham Stallions, Birmingham Legion, and Birmingham Legion's women's team. And let's make it much bigger than the stadium, restaurants, hotels, offices, residential, entertainment, and real estate development, creating jobs and economic growth for the entire Birmingham area. I've already identified 3 Metro Birmingham locations that I think could be incredible. Instead of being upset with me, let's fix the future and let's move quickly. I'll see everyone at the Michigan Panthers versus Birmingham Stallions opening game in our new stadium in 2029. I'm for solutions, not excuses. Where should we build it? Who's joining me? So that was his tweet, and he included a map of Birmingham, and he has identified 3 locations to build an 8,000 to 12,000 seat football stadium that can also host the Birmingham Legion. Now, I know you have not seen this, correct?
No, I haven't.
Okay. So if I were to say, Landrum, 3 locations in Metro Birmingham for the potential of a 8,000 to 12,000 seat football / soccer stadium, where would be the ideal places that you would identify?
Or like an address, like, hey, this would be a perfect spot.
Well, he has identified 3 locations, and they are obviously within the city limits of 3 communities in Birmingham. By the way, it's not anywhere in Birmingham proper. These are all outskirts.
I would think Hoover,
Okay.
Alabaster,
Okay.
Not where I live.
okay. So
No.
I was waiting.
Yeah, not where I live. No.
Okay. Hoover, Alabaster.
Just give me one more.
Not where I live. Where he lives. Trussville. That's a good one.
So according to, because you've already seen this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So according to Repole,
Birmingham Racecourse.
here are the 3 locations that he has identified. Vestavia Hills, Liberty Park.
Okay.
It's a nice spot. My mom lived there for a while.
Yeah.
Nice area.
He writes, affluent, close and high-income southeast corridor of Birmingham. It's 10 to 12 miles from Protective Stadium. Number 2 is South Hoover, I-459 Highway 150.
That's what I was thinking.
He writes, strongest existing commercial base, hotels, restaurants, central access. It's 13 to 15 miles from downtown Birmingham and Protective Stadium. And site number 3, y'all can tailgate in my backyard.
Yes! True home game.
Trussville, Alabama
That's what I'm talking about.
is location number 3 that Mike Repole has identified as a potential site of an 8 to 12,000 seat football/soccer stadium.
Did you see it? Conrad, Pat removes the back privacy fence of the yard. He's just pulling cars in there.
Yes.
Oh, it'd be great.
I got my towel out there. I'm bringing people in left and right.
But not only that, you park, but it's all under one fee. And this is going to be very bougie parking. But we will also have a party tent. It'll be catered. You have cornhole.
By
You
that
can host
time,
the
The
Giddy Up
event
Boys and
before the
Girls.
event,
Yeah,
yes.
it's great.
Acoustic music,
yes.
You could rent out your basement the night before if people wanted to spend the night, get
Yeah.
an early start.
like a bed and breakfast
Mm-hmm.
kind of deal.
Perfect.
It's
Let's do it.
fantastic. So
It's
imagine
the best idea Rapole's ever had.
Imagine my surprise, and I've talked to a lot of people in my community.
And nobody in Trussville knows anything about it?
No, they don't.
No.
They're like, what?
Because Mike Repole sat there and he did Google Earth one day when he was bored counting his billions, and he went, let's put one there, there, and there.
But I will say this. All of these other locations, and listen, it would work at Trussville, but I'm just telling you right now, as someone that pays taxes in the city of Trussville, my property tax is already high enough and already pay for enough in that community. I'm not spending a dime for Mike Repole to build a stadium in Trussville, Alabama. That ain't happening, brother.
Well, and I don't know if I really, just given his history and some of the snide remarks he's made, I don't really need Mike Repole telling us what to do down here.
I don't think anybody in Vestavia Hills, Alabama
No.
would be willing to pay a dime. I mean, listen, the Hoover location, there's a lot of great property. There's a lot of great access around that point that he pointed. And listen, all the 3 places that he pointed out are actually would be good locations, but none of these municipalities are going to spend a dime. Now, if Mike Repole wants to come in and build it himself,
You want to come and do it? Yeah,
Come on.
we got the land.
hey, we'll give you a tax knockoff, just like, Landrum Roberts Catering that wants to come to Trussville. Hey, we'll talk to you about some type of tax situation for you, kind of a refund.
But I can promise you, we're not so starved for your product
No, thank you.
that we're going to
No.
spend a dime.
I mean, listen, Montgomery
I'm not,
was
willingly.
begging the Stallions to move there. They were begging to play at the Cramden Bowl. And guess what? That went over like a lead balloon. Like, no thanks. So now we're going to build a stadium for spring football in a league that is averaging 4,000 to 5,000 people per
So
game.
then what happens when the league folds? And then somebody comes in and goes, why did Trussville build this 14,000 seat stadium that never gets used? Or wherever they would put it.
Yeah. It would look like Athens, Greece, after they hosted the Olympics. It's a ghost town.
Are you going to build it for the six a year and the
mean,
arts and craft show that you have in the city? The I Love Trussville Day? You'll have the parade there?
Well, that'd be dog days.
What? Well,
not-
okay,
not
sorry.
Trussville
Well,
Day,
everybody
it's
has their
dog
own
days.
day.
Come on,
You have
man.
Mule Day up in Winfield. Shout out. What's up?
So for those that are living at Liberty Park, get ready because Mike Repole wants to put a stadium.
He wants
right
to put
there
a
on
stadium
459.
right there on your street.
Yes, right where the Statue of Liberty is off of I-459.
Where you drive your golf cart, that's where Repole wants that stadium.
Yes. And for those of you on Highway 150 and I-459, there's nothing going on in that part of the world. Be a great location for a 8 to 12,000 seat stadium. People are just like, yeah, let's spend our tax money on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we need.
Because Mike Repole has shown the love of our community. So now he's offering, hey, listen, you never know till you ask, because just like that dumb A that bought the Portland Trailblazers, Tom Dundon, who ran the Birmingham Iron out of here, remember him?
Mm-hmm.
Guess what he did? He has finagled about $600 million from the taxpayers in Portland, Oregon to redo their arena. He's not paying a dime. The state of Oregon is paying for it. 2 counties in Portland are paying for it. Because guess what? There was a rumor that they were going to move to St. Louis. So then all of a sudden, everybody in Portland got nervous. And so now the government, $600 million are going to that clown so that the Portland Trailblazers will get basically a brand new arena redone inside so they wouldn't move.
And he also said that he was essentially going to spend the least amount of money on his roster as possible.
Correct.
So build us a new arena, but we're going to have a terrible product for you.
And then guess what he did? He fired their long-time play-by-play announcer for the Portland Trailblazers, too. I mean, you just can't make this stuff up.
It sounds like that city and that owner, they deserve each other.
It's
yeah,
Portland.
pretty much.
It's Portland.
So, but of all places that Mike Repole is like trying to float an idea of building a stadium, are you kidding me? In Birmingham, Alabama, where you had one of the best state-of-the-art stadiums in downtown? Okay.
But let's build a Cracker Jack box.
Yeah, it's okay.
And that will help.
And I like how he throws in a really, really good organization like the Birmingham Legion. Like, oh yeah, let's build a stadium for them too.
Well, the 18,000 that we were a part of for that opener, the stadium wasn't the problem.
Once again, it's the product. I mean, we had multiple people come up to us at the Jocks kickoff party the other night. And, you know, a couple of them brought up the Stallions and, hey, really hate to see them go. Matter of fact, I was talking to a season ticket holder, and the season ticket holder said, you know what, at the end of the day, it was just a bad product. It was just bad. The coaching was bad. The personnel was bad. The teams that came in here to play the Stallions were bad. And outside of the first game, everything else was just bad.
Yeah, this season, it was not a good product.
No, period. So
hard to watch.
Need to work on that. You work on that, then
you can start telling us what to do and where we should put our money.
Absolutely. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, Mike Rodak will join us from Bama 247. We'll talk about Bama's scrimmage. Also, we'll give you some updates, what's going on at Auburn's first scrimmage of the fall. That's next on 3 Men Front. 11:22. We'll get to your phone calls, your text messages next at 205-834-9450. Many of you are chiming in on the story that we were just talking about, that Mike Repole would like to potentially identify 3 locations in Metro Birmingham to build a football/soccer stadium. So love to hear from you. If you need a new roof or you need something done on top of your house, then Abide Roofing, that's the company that you need to call at 205-577-7338. Matter of fact, the last couple of days, they have been at Conrad's house, wrapping up some things that had happened to his house when a tree had fallen on top of his roof and into his house. So they could take care of the small things like loose shingles. They could take care of a full roof replacement like they did for me. They're the insurance claim masters at 205-577-7338. They will be your advocate. They will get for what you deserve. I trusted Abide Roofing, so did Conrad. And so you need to as well. From the first phone call to the final inspection, Abide Roofing, Travis Lloyd and his outstanding local roofing team, they are ready to help you even in a hot, disgusting day like today. His crews are out working as we speak. Abide specializes in roof repairs, full roof replacements, inspections, insurance claim assistance. Give Travis a call today at Abide Roofing, 205-577-7338.
A lot of your reaction on the Jocks text line to something we were just talking about with Mike Repole, the owner of the UFL, part owner of the NFL, or the UFL, making recommendations for Birmingham, where we should put a new city. He's identified 3 areas. We've got the Hoover area, we've got the Liberty Park area, and we have Pat Smith's backyard of Trussville, Alabama.
Yeah, that's what he put on the thing. It was Pat Smith's backyard.
Right.
In East Jefferson County in Trussville. That's exactly the way he put it on the graph.
That's a nice backyard.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Well, I'm still waiting on you to develop my green in the tee box.
Well, that's going to be a part of the tailgate package.
Hey Conrad, there's now a tailgate package for my house when the new stadium's built.
It's going to sell it quickly.
That's
great.
We'll have ponies. We will have horses.
The Giddy Up Boys. Well, has Don called in? Has Don already cordoned off his space in my backyard?
No, I think he's still blacked out from hearing about the Byron Brown touchdown. So,
you know what?
He hasn't recovered from that yet.
I have just gotten my first text of a potential corporate sponsor. I mean, the people in Trussville are coming. 18 South Stadium. What do you think?
I like it.
Has a good ring to it. I like it.
I feel good about our pre-order tickets.
Yes.
It'd be great. You have merch like all in the stadium. Oh,
that's
that's
right.
great. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, I like that.
I love that idea.
Okay, 18 South.
18 South Stadium.
That's good.
Mm-hmm. I can see the branding now.
So will it be the stadium that's closest to your house, or would this be the parking lot?
I'm looking at the map. I'm trying to see exactly where that would be near my house.
Well, you've got those trees in your backyard, right? They could just knock those down and start the parking lot there and extend that out to the location of the stadium.
I'll be completely honest with you, and obviously I live there. This map is all jacked up.
It's probably a chat GPT. Give me a map of Trussville, Alabama.
You're not telling me that Repole has picked a floodplain, right?
This literally looks like it's, if you're based on this, what he posted, yeah,
He wants to put it in the middle of Woodfruiter.
I mean, he doesn't even have like 459 going out to Trussville.
Well, did he get an old map?
Maybe this was before 1980. This is an
old
old map.
Back when Trussville just had the driving range.
Yeah, it was just a 2-lane road, Highway 11. That's all it
And
was.
The sign that said "Home of Southern League Baseball."
Yes,
that was it.
Absolutely. No, that was it.
Bless
yeah,
him.
I can't. This map is all jacked up. I can't tell you where it is. I mean, obviously I know where Liberty Park is in 459, and I know where 150 and 459. But
speaking of jacked up, how jacked up is AK Deer after the scrimmage yesterday? Mike Rodak. He's going to tell us. He joins us next. 11:31 here on this Friday three-man front. Conrad, Landrum, and Pat. Auburn scrimmaging today right now. The first report we had, or the first score, Auburn quarterback Byron Brown, 60-yard touchdown run. We'll continue to update you there, getting us updated now. A guy that we count on for the college football season. Not only college football season, but it's 365 days, and it's Mike Rodak. Nobody better at covering the Crimson Tide. Mike, how are you on this Friday?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Doing great. We're just trying to decipher as much as we can reports coming out of Tuscaloosa yesterday and individual efforts. But overall, without talking specifics, would you give overall the day a thumbs up, a thumbs down, or I guess we could go meh?
It's always tough when you're talking about intra-squad scrimmages.
Sure.
One thing is good for one side, bad for the other. It's very chicken or eggy as they come. But because of that, I'll have to go with meh because, again, I think the defense had a good day. I think the defensive line, it was positive reviews, but obviously that has its own meaning about the offensive line and the offense with both quarterbacks, throwing picks. And, it's going to be something where one thing is good, the other thing is bad for the other side of the ball. So it's hard to go thumbs up, thumbs down, completely. But I'd probably go in the May category, and it's like in any other scrimmage in that regard.
Okay, what we know from the quarterback performance yesterday, was that an indication whatsoever of where this thing is heading? Because most people seem to say, and you can correct us on this next statement, that if you were grading them, perhaps Russell was a tad better than Mac. Does that mean anything at all? What are you hearing on that competition?
Yeah, I think, Kalen DeBoer was being honest in my interpretation by saying there isn't separation, even after the scrimmage. And, the scrimmage is 1 out of 18 total practices, in fall camp. So, there's always a lot more tension on it. But there's also live periods in other parts of practice. They had a live period on Tuesday, for instance. So you don't want to put all your eggs in the basket of what exactly it looked like during the scrimmage. And I do think the reviews on Russell were better than the reviews on Mac. But was it a chasm? No. And then what does it look like for, the camp overall? When you look at the 8 practices that they've had so far, the 10 practices that they have left, where does that lead itself? And so, I've said all along, I would still lean ever so slightly to Austin Mack, and maybe that dial is turning a little bit slightly more to 50-50. I think there's certainly arguments to be made if Keelan Russell is able to protect the football and run the offense efficiently and have good command and have good poise and have all those things that Kalen DeBoer has talked about, then some of those advantages that you might have cited for Austin Mack start to wither away a little bit. But, it's not, I think anybody saying right now, this is Keelan Russell's job. He's the starter. There's no doubt about it. It's premature. I don't think that's where it's at. I truly believe this is a very close competition. I think there's going to be arguments to be made either way. And even by the time we get through the scrimmage next week, next Thursday, will there be complete clarity? No, I think it might just have to be let's sit down in a room between Ryan Grubb and Kalen DeBoer and maybe Brian Ellis, the quarterback's coach, and, make a decision, even if it's not totally clear and having presented itself on the practice field.
Mike, for those of us who weren't able to see it, describe Keelan Russell and some of the plays that maybe you witnessed in the scrimmage that leave people so excited.
So we weren't able to watch it, for us. There's no media, and I think even the people there, it's not, there's pretty strict rules about phones and all that. So
we were getting texts from the bathroom yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. It's like what was the Alabama school law that they made? Focus law. It's kind of like that, where you can't really use your phones, for these scrimmages. But as far as, what Keelan Russell is capable of doing, I think it continues to show itself that he's going to be more escapable, more mobile. There's just a different way the ball comes off his hands. There's a different feel that he has for pressure and being able to move around. People who were there in A-Day, I think, saw that. People who watched him late in the games last year saw that. And that continues to show itself. And without a doubt, the ceiling is higher for Keelan Russell. Like a fully formed Keelan Russell is a very good quarterback that I don't know if Austin Mack can match that level, but where exactly is it going to be by the end of this coming week? We'll have to see. And the other part of this is naming a starter. Like, we're all going to be expecting a starter to be named after the scrimmage next week. That's really for week one. And I know Kalen DeBoer's talked about wanting to have a single guy in place and have the team rally behind that, et cetera, but it is still an opening game against East Carolina where I think you can probably afford to play both guys. And if that's the case, then you get another data point. People get to see them in live action. You get to see it against a different defense. And then I think the true naming of a starter really becomes, who are you going to start on the road in an SEC environment at Kentucky, which is a different animal. And I don't know if you want to be flip-flopping quarterbacks in that situation. So the true starting quarterback may be more about week 2 than it is about week 1.
Mike Rodak joining us from Bama 247, joins us every Friday as we get everything kicked off for the college football season. So, Mike, let's talk about the offensive line, because that is an area of concern because of the lack of running game from last year. Brought on a lot of new pieces. Some guys, young guys, are getting opportunities that were there on campus last year to try to step up in those major starting roles. What can you tell us from your intel about how they performed yesterday and how they're rounding out?
Yeah, I think the offensive line kind of remained a big question, as far as how yesterday went. And obviously that's been, pretty consistent going back to the spring. I think it's been the big question mark on this team in general. I don't think yesterday changed that. And again, it's a question of, was it the offensive line being really bad? Was the defensive line being really good? I think Kalen DeBoer is very happy with where this defensive line is. I think he feels like they would cause issues against a lot of offensive lines, but so might other SEC schools against Alabama's offensive line. So that's kind of the concern. And it's with Mal Waldrop, I think is probably the leader right now to start at left guard. I know there's a lot of I'd say hype, but like momentum people kind of built up for William Sanders at left guard, and he missed all the spring, and he didn't really play a whole lot last year, and neither did Waldrop, but it feels like Waldrop's a little bit further ahead right there. Javen James at right tackle, I think they see something in him. They saw something on tape at Mississippi State. They feel like they can get it to that point, but those are the two positions where I think you kind of feel the most concern about, just based on the lack of real knowledge of this guy's going to be a really good player in the SEC this year. So you might feel a little bit better about center. I think Rayson Delgado there's a higher opinion of him within the building than there might be people looking at him just as this undersized Cal Poly guy. I think they seem to really like Rayson Delgado, but we'll have to see. It's going to be an interesting start of the year, for the line, and just kind of see where they are, after a couple weeks here.
Not sounding the alarm by any means. AK Deer, we hear about an injury. Wanted to ask you about that and what you're hearing, but also EJ Crowell, not available. I know that he said he's not going to miss practices. That's a very talented running back room, but you have to have healthy running backs. What can you tell us first on AK Deer?
Yeah, still waiting on anything, firm on that, but it's a guy that certainly seemed to make a lot of progress. If you asked me a month ago, would AK Deer be talked about in the way that he was over the last week, I would have been surprised. I think he just felt like a little bit behind the curve, through the spring, and wasn't really a guy I was expecting to kind of make his mark in the fall, and he did. And the first week of camp, he was getting some really good reviews, and even yesterday had the touchdown, as Kalen noted. So, it's nothing that's been out there reportable yet in terms of how long he'll be out. And so we'll just have to see, when exactly that comes out, how much it's going to be. And, like you said, you combine that with the EJ Crowell injury, and it's not just the injury for him, as it's keeping him out right now. It's really the cumulative lack of practice time when you go back to the spring and all the time that he missed, and being a freshman and being a guy that he was a little bit like Derrick Henry in high school in the sense that it was like, just give him the ball and just let him go and do his thing. Like, he was so talented at high school. And as Kalen, or it was either Kalen or Grubb said, you have to learn how to practice. And so if you're not practicing in the spring or the fall, that's going to set you back. And when you have a guy like Trayshawn Brown, who comes in as a 3-star freshman and is available and is practicing and is making plays, that's probably where the coaching staff is going to look towards. When you're talking about relying on somebody on the road, week 2 at Kentucky, can we rely on you to pass protect? Can we rely on you to do the right thing in terms of the play call at running back? It's the guy who probably practiced more. So maybe it's not the injury itself right now that I'd be concerned about with Corral, but it's more just all the time that he's missed and all of what that's meant as far as what he's missed on the field.
Speaking on the injury front, what can you tell us about Latsir Brooks? Any other guys banged up in regards to what took place yesterday and during, obviously not just the scrimmage, but just practices in general over the last week?
Yeah, I think Brooks, among all of the guys that have been talked about the last 24 hours here, is probably the most minor.
Okay.
There just doesn't seem to be a whole lot of concern about that, and precautionary, whatever it might be there. It doesn't seem like that's something that's going to endanger him from starting the season. And I would fully expect him to be one of their top 3 receivers to start the season. It's not a very deep room. That's probably the bigger concern about the receiver position. Is just, you already have Noah Rogers, who's out for a while. If Brooks is banged up, if somebody else gets banged up along the way here, there's just not many guys that have experience playing college football. Even, Cedarian Morgan comes in as a freshman, hasn't played an SEC game yet. Derek Meadows was limited last year because of his injury. And then you get beyond that, and it's just a lot of guys who just don't have a lot of experience. So you want that room to stay healthy. You want to have, 4 or 5 guys who have been out there and you can rely on, and Brooks will be important for that. But the other guy who's been out is Jordan Edmonds, the freshman corner. As we reported earlier this morning, Brett Greenberg and Alex Scarborough, that he's suffered an injury in practice, lower body, and he's going to be out for a little while here, at least a few weeks. I think is certainly on the mild side, as far as how long it might take. So it's a little bit of a blow in the secondary, given that they've talked about how deep it is. He's a 5-star. He's probably going to be on the field fairly early, and it's going to be a lot more relying on Carmelo O'Neal, the Mercer transfer. I think without Edmonds here, probably missing some games, I think is fair to say at this point.
In regards to the defensive line, you guys that cover this team on a daily basis in T-Town and getting an opportunity to watch a little bit of practices, I know you're not in there all the time, but the defensive line, it just appears by your reporting and others that could be a really big strength of this football team. Not really sure if it was the fact that the offensive line yesterday may not be living up to its standards, what it needs to be, but the defensive line, especially some of these additions from the transfer portal, at least early on, and tell me if I'm wrong, it seems like that is going to pay dividends for this Alabama defense this year.
Yeah, I think in particular, it's probably Devin Tompkins, I think is really the big name that you're looking at as potentially a game wrecker, potentially that sort of guy that, can make an impact in the pass rush, but is also sturdy enough, to play the run at 300 pounds and help your run defense out. So, he's versatile. He can play on the outside, can play on the inside at tackle. Tompkins is really the centerpiece of that conversation. I think Terrence Green has come along as well, the Oregon transfer. Other than that, it's a decent amount of guys that you've had before, whether it's Isaiah Fega or London Simmons or Jeremiah Beeman, who was out last year, Stephen Bumua, who was not out last year, but he didn't really play a whole lot last year. So it's still a question of Edric Hill is another one who's back. With how much Kane Womack rotates, and there's still probably a difference between a line with, let's say Tompkins and Terrence Green and Kedrick Bingley-Jones, who's the 7th-year guy from Mississippi State, versus Edric Hill and Isaiah Fega and, London Simmons, which is kind of what it was last year, So it's still a question of what line is out there, which combination of players is out there. I think Tompkins is, again, kind of that centerpiece of that conversation. Let's also not forget they've lost some pretty good players along that line, too. I think Tim Keenan was a good player for them last year. When he was out, it was a problem. LT Overton, 4th-round NFL draft pick. Like, there's still, you know, I don't know if he ever lived up to his potential, but that was a pretty good player. When he was out for the SEC championship, that was a big deal. You know, James Smith, Ohio State saw something in him to go pick him up. So you've lost some good players. You've brought in some good players. To me, the question is kind of what's the difference? What's the delta between last year and this year? And I think if Tompkins can really hit that ceiling and be an early round NFL draft pick, which is kind of the trajectory he could be on, then yes, I do think the line could be better. But again, it's still a decent amount of the same guys who were around last year.
All right, the most important question I'm going to ask you during this interview is, how's Lorcan Quinn doing? Is he coming along with his English? Is he understanding people in Tuscaloosa after he's been in the Deep South for a few months? Where are we at here? Is it Talty? Is it Quinn? What are we looking at here?
Yeah, an Irish brogue. I don't know. I'll have to see how it meshes with the Southern accents. But yeah, Quinn's an interesting guy. I mean, he's 25 years old, or maybe even 26 now. I'd have to check. But he was like a linesman, like a telecom linesman in Ireland, and before just suddenly became a kicker for Marshall. And he's actually grandfathered into the old eligibility rules,
right?
Because if he was coming into college football right now,
problematic.
He would be too old.
Yep.
Because of the new rule. Right. So you have him and you have Talty. It's a competition. Like I think anybody who's just saying Connor Talty is going to be tossed aside, Lorcan Quinn comes in, he's the Grozo Award watch list, all that. It's his job. Like I don't think that's really the case. I think it's still something where they're probably going to share time, and whether it's on field goals, kind of splitting duty against East Carolina, probably one of them takes kickoffs and maybe one of them does extra points. I think there's going to be some sort of a timeshare early on, and just kind of feeling out, who's the best kicker. And again, you get into some of those SEC road environments. Kentucky's one thing, but then, really when you get to like Tennessee, that's going to be a different animal. So we'll have to see what happens by then. But I still, they still have a certain level of belief in Connor Talty. If he's able to kind of just steady himself mentally and make those easy kicks and block out some of the noise, like the booing last year, then there's still a lot to work with him. But Quinn has a strong leg, and I think they were encouraged with what they saw out of him from Marshall last year.
I bet Lorcan Quinn grew up emulating, or trying to at least, Neil O'Donoghue. Famous Irish kickers from the NFL.
We haven't had a chance to talk to him yet, but once we do, I will have to pose that question, see if you're right on that.
Wait a second.
You doing Rosetta Stone
you haven't bought your kids a 97 jersey yet, Mike?
I haven't. I was thinking about buying them a Jaden Daniels jersey, but they wanted I would have to give it back, I think. So
you just got to send Mama her check.
Yeah, send Mom the money, and you'll be good to go, man.
That's right. Pay the royalty fee for him.
It's good stuff. Hey, Mike, always appreciate it. Excited that we're kicking everything off, as you'll join us every Friday at 11:30. Always a pleasure, my friend. Have a good weekend.
You got it, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Mike.
That's Mike Rodak, Bama 247. A lot of information there to unpack. He joined us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services.
A lot of your responses, we will get to those. Very entertaining on this Friday, as they customarily are. Three-man front continues. 1 o'clock on three-man front. Kyle Parmley's going to join us. That will be a part of our prep preview as the high school football season. We got jamborees. We used to have like a watermelon scrimmage in middle school right before we kicked the season off. But we get that, and then we get the start of the high school football season coming up next week, next Thursday, in fact, and that rolling into Friday as well. When it comes to football season, Kyle Parmley is going to be brought to us by our friends at Crafts each and every Friday. craftsbhm.com. Check it out, whether you want to pick up something for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner, or how about tailgating. You can do it at Crafts and check out the chicken tenders. You can go with a 30 count, 75 count, 150 count, all their signature sauces they make from scratch. This is not a national brand. They're making everything from scratch, including those delicious sides like the homemade macaroni and cheese, squash casserole, fried okra. The list goes on and on. Not just that, but also the wraps, the different platters that they can put together for you. It's all made from scratch, and it's just good old Southern food. That's what I think about, and that's where I'm going. That's going to be my go-to for tailgating this fall. Crafts BHM, all new location right there, Highway 280 in Mountain Brook near the Hollywood Boulevard exit. Check them out. And they got great ice, and it's hot outside, and we need great ice. Enjoy craftsbhm.com. Three-man front continues. We'll talk more college football and Braves baseball in the next hour. Barrett Salee, Braves Radio Network, getting set to host the Snakes this weekend. Braves